What's up, Ride Warriors? Welcome back to another edition of the Thrilling 32 Throwdown. Tonight, Danny, we've got another first round matchup here. Two very different coasters. Once again, two very different coasters, but luckily we're intelligent people and we can compare different things. Tonight we have Olympia Looping taking on Iron Rattler from Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Danny, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Olympia Looping. Unfortunately, next year I will not have that experience. Thank you, Cedar Point. But it is in the Thrilling 32 for the first time, Olympia Looping.
There's dance in the Tournament of Terrible.
Shockingly, it is in both. Olympia Looping. Is it the first thing ever to make both the Thrilling 32 and the Tournament of Terrible in the same year? I don't know. It might be. It very well could be the first thing to do.
Do we count being peed on Twisted Colossus as one?
No.
Because that was in the Tournament of Terrible.
No, because in the Tournament of Terrible, it was the general being peed on any roller coaster. So not just.
Oh, okay. All
right. So, anyway, Olympia Looping, a fine roller coaster. You had great things to say about it. Everyone that rides it usually has pretty good things to say about it. So I don't think it's any surprise that it's in the Thrilling 32, right?
No. For me, in my personal rankings, it's kind of right on the bubble of being in or not being in. I think it's right around, that 30 to 40 mark for me. For me, Olympia Looping, in terms of comparing it to some of the great Schwarzkopf coasters like Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas, Mindbender at Six Flags Over Georgia, so those are some of the other classic Schwarzkopf coasters that people tend to put at the top. I think there's an argument that Olympia Looping could be better than both of those. It really comes down to what you like out of your Schwarzkopf roller coasters. We all know that the loops are extremely powerful. On Mindbender and Shockwave, you get 2 each. What you get on those two that you don't get on Olympia Looping is the airtime. The back seat of Shockwave has some tremendous ejector airtime on quite a few of the drops. The front seat has some good airtime going over the hills as well. Mindbender, to me, is more of a front seat ride where you get some airtime as you go over the top of the hills. There's some backseat lovers on Mindbender as well for the same reason as Shockwave. You get some nice ejector airtime coming out of the seat going down the drops. Olympia Looping doesn't really have any of that airtime. The only exception to that is on that very first drop. If you're in the back car, you do get a little bit of airtime, but Olympia Looping also has the shoulder pads that come down from over top of you. Now, I did not find them uncomfortable. I did not find Olympia Looping to be rough at all, but I did prefer it in the front seat for the intensity going into those loops. So really, when you're comparing Olympia Looping to some of the other Schwarzkopf rides, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to give up those 3 or 4 spots of really strong airtime to get 3 more loops? So it's really over Texas and over Georgia. Their 2 rides are sort of a nice balance of airtime and positive, whereas Olympia Looping is pretty much all positive. You've got those 5 loops, which are all extremely powerful. You've got some really good helixes in there. Towards the end, it's sort of a nice... the end is, I've used the term meandering a little bit towards the end. It does a little bit of that at the end, but you've got track and supports very close to you. So you've still got a decent sensation of speed, even though you're not actually going that fast, which is kind of nice. Similar to that middle part of the ride on Iron Rattler that kind of just does the little whoop-de-doos and whatnot. So and Iron Rattler is like go, 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 go. Then it does this little thing at the top where you get, these fun little pops and the side-to-side action, and then you finish with a bang, right? That's with the tunnel and everything. So I think there's some comparisons to be made between what these 2 rides have to offer, just sort of in different sequences. Certainly Olympia Looping has the intensity as far as the positive Gs go. Iron Rattler has the intensity as far as the airtime goes. I think they're both smooth and very comfortable. They're both orange for the most part. The loops are obviously the different colors. Iron Rattler maybe has the better setting, being on the cliff there with the quarry walls. Olympia Looping is a traveling ride, so the setting's constantly changing, but at the same time, it's always kind of the same. It's at a fair, but Olympia Looping has that iconic factor to it. It's one of those rides that is very sought after and is very rarely ridden by coaster folks, so that sort of kicks it up a notch a little bit. There's a lot of different things that factor into these two rides. And again, Olympia Looping never in the Thrilling 32, whereas Iron Rattler has always done extremely well. In the second year of the Thrilling 32, actually came in at number 3 in 2013 in its opening year. And believe it or not, Andy, Iron Rattler has never been lower than number 11. And that was last year in 2018. So Iron Rattler has pretty much always been a top 10 coaster in the Thrilling 32, which might make it even more surprising to see that its win-loss record in the tournament is only 8-6. So it's maybe had some tough matchups here and there, or it's always kind of been around that 8 to 10 mark where it wins 1, but maybe not 2. I think it was only ever in the Final Four that 1 year where it came in at number 3. So certainly an interesting decision here.
Well, the thing about it is I think it's, Olympia Looping, I think it's cool that it's in the 32. Do I think it's going to be one of those rides that has a constant presence? I don't know about that. I would not be surprised if Olympia Looping is one of those rides that bounces in and out of the Thrilling 32. I don't think it's going to beat Iron Rattler in this matchup. Iron Rattler is such a strong roller coaster. The RMC fans love it. The Texas people love it. I love it. I think 11 might be a little low for Rattler. But the knock on Rattler has always been that it's too short, that you have the amazing first drop, you have the amazing drop back into the canyon, through the tunnel. And those are really the two really highest points of that ride in terms of thrills. And it's kind of like balancing out the parts that kind of, like you say, meander a little bit. That like the stuff at the top of the quarry with the overbanks, they're fun elements. Are they amazing elements? No, those early RMC overbanks kind of kill the speed on things and, pop you out of your seat a little bit, but whatever. But for the most part, I think Iron Rattler's high points are so high in terms of thrills that it kind of makes up for those low points, those low elements. Olympia Looping, I don't know. I think it's one of those that we're going to see. It's going to make a statement maybe, and then maybe pop in and out of the Thrilling 32. I would not be surprised if Olympia Looping was the number 32 coaster here.
Well, that's an interesting point. There's always one ride that is number 32, and it's the last one in, right? Maybe Olympia Looping is that coaster, maybe not. But we'll have to see. There's certainly an intriguing matchup, if nothing else, even if it may not be a difficult one for you to choose. But coming up later this week, we'll find out who advances onto the second round, and coming up at the beginning of March, we'll see where ultimately both of these rides rank in the top 50 from the Ride Warrior Choice Awards 2019. So all of that is coming in. So coming up. So if you haven't, you've got just a couple days left to finish up your brackets. January 31st by midnight Eastern time here in the United States. So get those submitted. Go to thrilling32.com, and I believe you have a link there that you can click on to get yourselves to the Google form to fill out your brackets. So do that before the end of the day on January 31st, and give yourself a chance to win some fabulous prizes, Andy, from us here at the Thrilling 32. There's as of recording here, already over 100 brackets submitted again this year, and there's some that are very, very good. So it's whoever wins it is certainly going to earn it this year.
As always, I am Andrew Warchak from Chicago, Illinois.
Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Ride Warriors.
Good luck, guys. Thanks.